ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्ण चैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्ण पादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्कुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरे प्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यस्य कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. Welcome to the Manah Shiksha series every Friday, Saturday and Sunday morning. We have now finished the discussion on text 1 or verse 1 of Manah Shiksha. Today we'll begin with verse 2. Verse 2, in fact, Bhaktivinoda Thakur's commentary and even the contemporary Acharya's commentary is quite brief, and we'll be able to cover in at least, I think, 3-4 classes. So verse 2, 3, 4 will not take much time, but 4, 5, 6, 7 will take time because that is anarth nivritti. Yeah. So that will be the major heart of Manah Shiksha discussion, especially verses 4, 5, 6, and 7. And then 8, 9, 10, 11 is Prayojan. We need not much worry about it. We'll just go through that discussion. But from anarth nivritti to arth pravritti is our main focus. That's what we are now looking at in our spiritual practices, how to become free from anarth nivritti and engage in real artha pravritti. So that's how this whole Manah Shiksha is also taking us. It is more focusing on the artha pravritti. It is speaking about that damba, pride, is an anartha, obstacle in developing attachment to Guru, Goshte, Goshtaleshu. But how to develop these attachments? How to develop these 8 attachments so that we can develop rati towards Radha and Krishna. So it's more focusing on artha pravritti in one sense. So let's begin now today the discussion on verse 2 of Manah Shiksha. Verse 2, Bhajan Darpan commentary by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. I'll recite this verse. Na dharmam shruti gana niruptam kila kuru Raje Radha Krishna Prachura Paricharyami Hatanum Sachi Sunum Nandishwar Pati Sutatve Guruvaram Mukunda Preshtatve Smara Paramajastram Nanumana. Again, as I had mentioned, the specific meter of Manashiksha verses is very similar to the Jagannath Ashtakam. Jagannatha Swami Nayana Patagami Swabhavatu Me. So very similar is actually it is the same meter. So I'll just recite once again. Na dharmam na dharmam shruti gana niruktam kilakuru Raje Radha Krishna Prachur Paricharyam Ihatanum Sachi Sunum Nandishwar Pati Sutatve Guru Varam Mukunda Preshtatve Smara Param Majasram Nanumana. The translation. Indeed, do not perform any pious acts prescribed in the Vedas. Na dharmam. Na means do not do. Dharma. Dharma which is prescribed in the Vedas. Shruti gana niruktam kilakuru. What is mentioned in the Vedas and supporting it. Or sinful acts forbidden in them. Na adharmam. So na and adharmam becomes na dharmam. That is by joining these two words, in Sandhi in Sanskrit. Na and adharmam become na dharmam. So when you break it, it is na adharmam. So don't do dharma and don't do adharma. Because Raghunath Das Goswami, saying, don't do dharma. There is some deep import to it. So once we study the purport, it will become clear. Then what do we do? Raje Radha Krishna Prachur Paricharyam Ihatanu. Staying here in Vraj. Vraje means in Vraj. Please perform profuse, prachur, service to Radha Krishna. Paricharyam. Paricharya means service. O mind, Nanumana, unceasingly remember the son of Sachi and the son of Nand Maharaj. Sachi Sunu Nandishwarapati Sutatve. So who is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? He is the son of Nand Maharaj. And Sri Guru as the dearest servant of Lord Mukunda. Mukunda Preshtatve Smara Param. So this is, don't do dharma, don't do adharma, but perform profuse service to Radha and Krishna in Braj, and always meditate that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is none other than the son of Nand Baba. And always meditate that the spiritual master is a very dear servant of Lord. So that's the instruction Raghunath Das Goswami is giving to his mind. So we will now first cover the Bhaktivinoda Thakur's Bhajan Darpan commentary. And then if you have any questions, we can take up. So here, give up ordinary dharma and adharma, offering everything to Krishna. Everything what you do it for Krishna. And then meditate on Lord Chaitanya, Sachi's son, as being the same as Krishna's Nanda son. So here is Nanda Baba with Krishna, and here is Sachi. This Sachi Suta is none other than Nanda Suta. Sachi Suta hoilo with Gaur, and Balram hoilo Nitai. And then meditate as the Guru as being very dear to Krishna. So the Guru is here, either he is the confidential servant of Nityanand Guru Tattva, or the confidential servant of Srimati Radharani, who rescues the conditioned souls and engages them in the service of the divine couple. Okay, so let us now come to the Bhaktivinoda Thakur commentary on this Bhajan Darpan, verse 2, Purva Papaksha. So, Bhaktivinoda Thakur himself, puts a question. Sometimes the authors, in order to explain the verse, they themselves put a question of the arguments of the other side. What might be the other arguments from the other side, and that is called as Purva Paksha. And they present the reply, counter argument, and establish the conclusion. So this is called as, in philosophy, especially in the traditional dialectics, in spiritual commentaries, there are, 5 things. One is called as Vishaya. Vishaya means, the subject matter which is being studied. Then there is Samshaya, Samshaya means raising a doubt about it. How is it right? So doubts are a sign of intelligence. And then Purva Paksha, specifying the prima facie view about the doubt. What is your prima facie doubt? And then Uttar Paksha, specifying the opposite view of the same. So what is your doubt, your view? What is the other view? And then Nirnay or Siddhant, specifying the conclusion by an unbiased judgment. So there is a Vishaya, Samshaya, Purva Paksha, Uttar Paksha, and Siddhanta. In general, you can take Purva Paksha, Uttar Paksha, and Siddhanta also. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur first presents the Purva Paksha here. Now, what is the Purva Paksha? This verse deals with 3 doubts. So Samshaya. The Vishaya is about, Krishna. That is very clear. The first doubt concerns how an individual jiva who gives up false pride and takes shelter of Krishna Bhakti will earn a living. So in the previous verse, it was mentioned, give up sada dambam hitva and take shelter of Braja Nava Yuva Dvanda Sharano. You take shelter of Guru, Goshte, Goshtaleshu, Sujana, Bhusura Gana, Swamantre, Shri Namne, and Braja Nava Yuva Dvanda Sharane. If I take shelter of all these, then how will I earn? How will I maintain my livelihood? So, this is the first doubt. It might appear that no one who gives up dharma and adharma as prescribed in this verse could maintain a livelihood. So this verse, Raghunath Das Goswami is saying that give up dharma and give up adharma, which is prescribed in the Vedas. So if you give up, then how will you maintain your livelihood? Now this is the Samshaya. Please remember, this is the Samshaya, and arguments presented, prima facie arguments presented. How will I maintain my livelihood? This is the Purva Paksha. The second doubt concerns accepting the worship of Shri Shri Radha Krishna, the divine couple, as the ultimate and only object. So Raghunath Das Goswami, right in the beginning of Manah Shiksha, makes it that our prayojan is Vraja Radha Krishna, not Dwarkadish Krishna, not Rukmini Dwarkadish. It is Vraja Radha Krishna. So very clearly he makes that point, and now he's again made that point. Vraje Radha Krishna Prachur Paricharyam Ihatanun. Excessive, profusely worship only Radha Krishna, because they are our ultimate object, Deha. So the second doubt will be regarding this. If I only exclusively worship Radha Krishna, such a person needs to understand how to know and regard Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu without disturbing one-pointed worship. Because one-pointed worship of Radha Krishna is recommended by Raghunath Das Goswami, then how to now regard Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? So this is the second doubt. The third doubt concerns needing to know the method in which one should meditate on Sri Guru. So if you exclusively worship Radha and Krishna, how do we regard Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Then how do we regard Guru? Answers to all these are provided below with proper analysis. So now Bhaktivinoda Thakur has presented the Samshaya and the Purva Paksha, prima facie, three things. And now he is going to give the Uttar Paksha and the Siddhanta in the coming discussions. So let us see how well the devotees have heard. So who will answer what are the three doubts presented by Bhaktivinoda Thakur himself in the commentary? What are the three doubts? Okay, Tirthapal Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandat Pranam.
Can you speak a little loudly?
Can you hear me, Prabhu? Yes, Prabhuji. Can you hear me, Prabhu?
Yes, it is better now.
Yes, Prabhu. The first doubt is, Prabhu, give up dharma and adharma.
No, what is the doubt Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying? What is the doubt? What is the Purva Paksha argument?
Achha.
The three doubts are there which come up after hearing this verse. Three, prima facie points come up, which is the Purva Paksha points. There are three doubts that
Yes,
if
Prabhu.
you give dharma and adharma, then what is the doubt?
Yes, Prabhu. If you give up dharma and adharma, so first thing, how will you get your livelihood? Is from where you will get your livelihood.
Correct. Yes. What is the second Purva Paksha argument? Doubt and argument.
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, how means one pointed attention to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. How will you worship?
No. Okay, Rasparani Mataji. You need to hear very attentively. Yes, Rasparani Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, the second doubt is if Sri Rajarada Krishna is the single point of worship, then in that case, how do we regard Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and how do we worship Chaitanya Mahaprabhu?
Yes, exactly. If Prachur Radha Krishna worship is what is single pointedly as our ultimate goal, then how do we worship Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? How do we consider it? Then the third one.
How do we meditate on the Guru?
Yes. How do we worship Guru then? Because there is exclusive worship of Radha and Krishna. So these are the three doubts. Okay, excellent. Very nice. So now Bhaktivinoda Thakur gives the shlokartha, meaning of the verse too. Okay, now all this will be answered now, and please attentively hear this, the answers. So he does the shlokartha. Na dharmam, na adharmam, sachi, shruti gana, niruktam kilakuru. Do not perform pious or sinful activities mentioned in the shrutis. The Shruti's essence is the esoteric conclusion that one should serve the divine couple Shri Radha Krishna uninterruptedly. Actually, the highest conclusion of the Shrutis is to worship Radha and Krishna. So what does the Vedas say? The Vedas' ultimate conclusion is to worship. The highest dharma is paro dharma. Savai pumsam paro dharma yato bhaktir adokshaje ahetuki apratiyata yayatma sukhasivati. So that is the highest dharma. So don't do dharma and adharma, but do paro dharma. So that is the essence of the Shrutis. Externally, whatever a human being does falls in one of these two categories of dharma and adharma. So whatever a person does, he either does dharma in the form of pious activities or he does sinful activities. If you don't follow dharma, then you are doing adharma, that is sinful activities. So don't perform pious activities, don't perform sinful activities. Perform pure devotion to Radha and Krishna. If we reject both, life cannot be sustained even for a moment. So if we reject this both, then how will you sustain your life? Therefore, Srila Raghunath Das Goswami did not actually prohibit all activities in relation to engaging the senses in the world. So the deeper meaning is that Raghunath Das Goswami is not forbidding all activities which are in relation to the senses, body, for maintenance of the body. Nor did he prohibit all prescribed duties in relation to awakening a soul to the ultimate goal of life. So those prescribed duties of the Varnashram, which help us to develop Rati, Krishna Katha Rati, those we can do. But if those prescribed duties don't help us to develop Rati, then all those prescribed duties are what? Shrama evahi kevalam. So where is this mentioned in the Bhagavatam? Which verse I'm referring to actually? Anyone knows? Which verse am I referring to? Krishnapat Prabhuji, yes. Yes.
Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, atapumbi dvijashreshta
No,
varnashrama vibhagashah na utpadayati yatiratim shamayevahi kevalam.
Okay, you mentioned the last two lines correct, but it is not Atha Pumbejita Shrishta, it is Dharma Sunishtita Pumsa.
Yes, sorry.
Shokshena Katasuya, Notpad Yedadi Ratim Shamayavai Kevalam. So you should be situated according to your Varnashram, perform those duties, but develop attraction for hearing Krishna Katha. If you don't develop attraction for hearing Krishna Katha and you perform your Varnashram duties meticulously, then that is completely Shrama. So you can perform your prescribed duties because they ultimately help us to awaken the soul's natural attraction for prema. Because they are a perfect vehicle where you can be situated, where you can be best situated so that they, that's why to establish Varnashram is very, very important. Devotees today have taken up the spiritual path, but because they are not working in a conducive atmosphere, they are not getting opportunity more and more to hear Krishna Katha and chant the holy names. Prabhupada wanted an agrarian lifestyle. Devotees adopt an agrarian lifestyle so that he said that you can save time and chant Hare Krishna. Ultimately attain the goal of life, that is Krishna Prem, chant Shuddha Naam. So this is the point Bhaktivinoda Thakur is making. Okay, paragraph 2. In this world, there are two categories of living beings, the spiritually ignorant and the spiritually intelligent. Now, Bhaktivinoda Thakur is explaining further. For spiritually ignorant living beings, the Vedas, as Shruti and Smriti, list many rules and prohibitions to promote piety and discourage sin. So those who are not self-realized, they are still conditioned, then they have to follow the Vedic rules and regulations so that they become pious and they don't commit sinful activities. Fear of punishment motivates spiritually ignorant jivas to follow such rules. Arjuna was fearful of doing his Kshatriya duty of killing this, participating in this war because it will lead to sin. So that is on what level they are motivated, the spiritually ignorant. Whenever they do anything independently of such scriptural guidelines, their actions have an inauspicious result. So those who are in the Varnashram, their whole consciousness, whether this act is a pious activity or whether this is a sinful activity. If I do this according to the Vedas, whether it will lead to Papa or it will lead to Punya. So this is the paradigm in which they work. Now, especially Ananya Bhakti or Shuddha Bhakti, the paradigm shifts to a very high level. It shifts to a very high level. Whether what is anukul for, executing pure devotional service, that is the criteria. Whether it is anukul or pratikul. Pap and punya is not taken care of at all, because that Krishna will take care. You might in an external sense commit any sinful act or violate a regulation of the Vedas for a higher purpose to please Krishna. Just like Prabhupada, it is mentioned in the Shastras only, it is mentioned that one should not cross the oceans, because that side the sinful people reside and you'll get contaminated. But Prabhupada, out of compassion to preach and execute the mission of his spiritual master and Krishna, he crossed the oceans. So that's how, those who are spiritually ignorant, they work in the paradigm of, whether this will lead to pap or punya, this activity prescribed in the Vedas. But those who are on Ananya Bhakti level, they work on Sharanagati principle, what is favorable, what is unfavorable for Krishna consciousness or for the pleasure of Krishna. Okay, next paragraph. Those who have attained self-realization are spiritually intelligent, conscious of their spiritual identity as servant of God. So these are, one who have realized their swarupa, their identity, their sthita pragya in one sense. They do not need and should not do actions motivated by fear. Srila Raghunath Das Goswami has instructed such persons who have realized their spiritual identity to pursue the worship of the divine couple without much regard to dharma and adharma. We should not give much regard to dharma and adharma. This is for them. Please understand that until you have come to this level where you're spiritually intelligent and you're conscious of your spiritual identity as Jivera Swarupoi Krishna and Nitya Das, then you will, you're practicing Raganuga Bhakti. And in Raganuga Bhakti, you don't give much importance to, whether to too much dharma and adharma. That is the point. I've just finished this point and then take up questions. Even while performing whatever required duties are needed in their life, spiritual practitioners, sadhakas, should infuse those activities with service to the divine couple, Shri Radha Krishna. So, whatever activities, required duties we need to perform, even for sadhakas, all those duties should be infused with what? Service to Radha and Krishna. Now, Bhaktivinoda Thakur in the next paragraph gives some practical examples for us to understand this. This has to be clearly understood by devotees, and please hear carefully. Those persons who live according to Varnashram, scriptural rules and of occupation and life stages. Varna is occupation, ashram is the life stage. Should do those actions in a mood related to pure devotional service. So we should live according to Varnashram and we should do those duties, but in a mood of what? Pure devotional service. So he gives example. For example, those who are married, Grihasthas, should establish the deity form of the Lord Shri Rudra at home. Then all activities such as earning money, farming, supporting one's family, protecting wealth and assets, building houses, and then so forth should be done in a mood of identifying oneself as the servant of the deity, who is the enjoyer of all those activities. So when I go to my office and work in the office, let us ask someone, Krishnapad Prabhuji, are you able to hear me?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah. Which company do you work in?
Hare Krishna.
Which company are you working in?
I am working in DRDO, Prabhuji.
DRDO. So who is your boss?
If you are asking from spiritual perspective,
I'm just asking a question. Who is your boss?
really speaking, I see practically now as Krishna as my boss.
Whom are you working for?
I'm working for Krishna.
But is that consciousness there?
Yes, I'm trying to keep it as far as possible.
Yes. So this is what, in the mood of pure devotional service, it is mentioned. So when we think that my boss is who? My boss is Krishna. I'm working for him. The salary is provided by Krishna. And I need that salary because I have to maintain Krishna's home. I need to buy bhoga for Krishna and offer that to Krishna. So in this kind of a consciousness, when one works, then that is, executing, at a very high level, practice of Krishna consciousness. So this is what Raghunath Das Goswami is actually mentioning. This is what Raghunath Das Goswami is mentioning. Okay. So I hope this is very, very clear because, we have to come to that level of consciousness. It's a matter of consciousness. It's not just, that I say it, but it requires that level of consciousness. So I just took that example. In the mood of identifying as a servant of the deity who is the enjoyer of world activities. And in my home, the children are, Krishna's children, but now they have sent so that I can take care of them. Now, and my wife is also, she's also the servant of Krishna. And we are assisting partners in serving the divine couple. So that should be the mood. And it is a very difficult thing. It's not so easy. And it comes out. So I'll just narrate one practical incident which happened. Very senior, very elevated kathakar. I and he had gone to one Grahasta's house for taking prasad. And they are quite, they have a quite simple, modest house. A simple house, a small hall, living room, and a kitchen, all in one line. And this hall, practically 50% of the hall is occupied by the deities. They have huge Rath Yatra size deities of Jagannath, Baldev, Subhadra. And the senior devotee, both the Prabhuji and Mataji were personally serving him. I was sitting in front of the senior devotee and taking prasad, honoring down. He was sitting on the chair because he could not sit down. And Prabhuji and Mataji, they are both children were serving. And Prabhuji casually asked, how many people are there in your house who are residing in your house? So he said, me, my wife, and my two children. And suddenly he said, what about Jagannath, Baldev, Subhadra? They are not part of your family. He was taken by a shock. So to come to this, level of consciousness is not so easy. So this is what Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying here. So we should contemplate on this. One should never think I am the enjoyer and master. I can exploit the fruits of my work for my enjoyment. According to Hari Bhakti Vilas, even rituals such as oblations, offering to ancestors should be performed in a mood of service to the deity. Just imagine, usually Shraddha ceremony, oblations, we perform as an obligation. Why? Tell me. Who will answer? why do devotees should perform Shraddha, but usually the consciousness, what is the consciousness while doing the Shraddha? Why do we do that? Anyone? Think about it carefully. Why do it? Okay. 2 hands have been raised. Let's ask first Satyavrat Chaitanya Prabhuji. Yes.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Prabhu, it is a Pitruna Prabhu because they have got the body from their ancestors. So we have to perform the obligation.
Yes. So it's on what concept of life then? It's more of what?
Bodily concept.
Yes. Okay. That's one reason. Okay. Ras Parang Mataji. What is the reason we perform?
So Prabhuji, generally they perform so that the person who has left the body can advance in a good spiritual in his path. So that this is the general view which is there. Because if you don't perform the last rites properly, then the soul will not go ahead properly in his journey ahead.
Yeah, that's more from a spiritual perspective, but sometimes, in what other consciousness, usually we perform Shraddha ceremony? That was my question.
Okay.
This is a valid reason that for the spiritual journey of the soul you might perform, but usually the consciousness is even among devotees is sometimes there is some other purpose. What is that other purpose? I'm trying to figure out.
So Prabhuji, in case of devotees, it is more of because we have a Krishna conscious background. So the ultimate purpose is for spiritual, because our
No, you're not getting my question there.
Okay.
You're not getting my question. The question is that it should be performed for a Krishna conscious purpose, but usually these ceremonies are performed based on some other purposes. I'm asking that. Are you getting my point? Yeah,
yeah, but then probably I don't have the answer.
Yes, okay. We'll see. One answer was usually because we have got bodies from our ancestors, so we have that obligation, so that's why we should perform. Okay. Archana Mataji, what is the reason?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. As correctly said, as an obligation we do it. Secondly, it's been carried out generations together, so we don't want to break that ritual. Number
Yes,
three, we want to seek the blessings of our pitras. They should not get angry on us. So for our material benefits,
fear. Based on fear.
Yes, fear.
Yes. So
And
I'll tell you, if after the our who are in our house elderlies pass away and they are suffering, we are also suffering. And why we are suffering, if you come to know that because we have not performed this ceremonies, so we would like to perform the ceremonies so that we don't, it's generally out of fear. That yeah, Anand Prabhuji, what are the other reasons you feel?
Hare Krishna Guruji.
Your audio is not clear.
Hare Krishna Guruji. Hare Krishna.
Yes.
Yes, so it may be the reason like we have different reams like Pitru ream, Gold ream.
Obligations. Yeah, we feel that we are obligated. So generally, my observation has been till today, sometimes that from a higher perspective, that that soul should get more elevated to Krishna consciousness. With that reason, performing that is quite good. But generally, it is because of obligations. We feel that, oh, if I don't do this, then there will be sinful act, then there will be karmic reactions. Then there will be fear on that. But here it is mentioned, it should be performed in the mood of a service to the deity. Because ultimately, all are Krishna's anshas. And we also take birth through the mother and father, but Krishna, Krishna is Pitamasya Jagata, Mata Dhata Pitama. So this from a spiritual perspective, we should see. So in the mood of service to the deity. So there's a very famous pastime of, I don't know the devotee's name, and he did not have, he was doing the deity worship, and he was lamenting that, when I leave this body, who will perform my Shraddha? And the deity spoke to him, don't worry, I will perform your Shraddha, the deity said. And the deity performed the Shraddha. So now also that ceremony happens every year when that's disappearance day of that great soul comes, and the deity is taken out on a procession and it actually performs the Shraddha ceremony. So we should perform this in the mood of service to the deity. So this is, this is what Raghunath Das Goswami is suggesting. When a person has no more attachment and dependency on the principles of Varnashram, pure intrinsic nature of devotional service for the pleasure of the divine couple is easily available. So when your conditioning of the Sabhav, you are detached. By performing Nishkam Karma Yoga, you become completely detached. Then you can attain Sthita Pragya, and attaining Sthita Pragya, then you can perform Jnana Yoga or Ashtanga Yoga. Similarly, we take up to a bhakti, but our bhakti is not now completely Shuddha. It is Mishra Bhakti because we have the conditioning. But if we act in our spiritual lives in this mood, what it is mentioned, we make everything favorable so that we can develop pure devotion. And like that, when we act very detached, then what will happen? Then the natural inclination of the soul, the natural attraction of the soul towards the supernal soul, that is pure devotion, is easily available. Then one can live in Brajdham, at least mentally, if not both physically and mentally. So then so only at the stage of Nishtha, when one is Siddha Pragya, Raganuga Bhakti will become, because at the stage of Nishtha, one is free from the influence of the modes of passion and ignorance. And now he is qualified to take up Raganuga Bhakti. So that is the point. Okay, in the next part, Sachi Sunum Nandishwar Pati Sutam. Meditate on Lord Chaitanya, son of Sachi, as non-different from Lord Krishna, the son of Nanda. Because it was mentioned Vraje Radha Krishna and Shri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Shri Krishna Chaitanya Radha Krishna Nahi Anya. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is none other than Radha and Krishna. He is the combined form of Radha and Krishna. The very beginning of worshipping the divine couple starts with the worshiping of one's Guru, Shri Guru Puja, and pleasing the Gurus. Then one remembers Lord Gauranga, meditating upon him to appear in the form of Krishna. If worship is done otherwise, the ultimate perfection will not come. However, if someone worships Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu separately from the divine couple, one will be unable to understand how he is not different from Krishna. Having established that Sri Krishna, Sri Nandanandan is not different from Chaitanya, Sri Satchidanand, one is then able to remember Sri Chaitanya Prabhu even while worshipping Sri Krishna. So that is how, these doubts, the other arguments and the conclusion has been established. Now the third one, Guru Varam Mukunda Preshtatvam Smara. Meditate on Sri Guru as being the dearest to Mukunda. The term Mukunda Preshta means someone who is very dear to Lord Mukunda, the Lord who gives mukti, freedom from material world. The worshipper should think Sri Krishna, who is like an ocean of mercy, has sent his intimate associate in order to take me home back to Godhead. It is also most appropriate to respect and regard Sri Gurudev as an intimate friend, Priya Sakhi of Srimati Radharani. So that is Guru Varam Mukunda Preshtatvam Smara. Very simple and crystal clear explanation of the verse by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Now, any questions up till now you have? Rasparani Mataji had a question. I did not take it up because I wanted to finish the discussion of Bhaktivinoda Thakur's commentary. Maybe there you might get the answer. So that's why I did not take it up that time. You
Hare
have it?
Krishna Prabhuji. Yes, my question was that the fear factor that you mentioned. So generally, when it is pap and punya, the fear is different. But devotees also have fear. Like they should not make any offense to Radha Krishna. They should, devotional service should be carried out properly. Or in case suppose if we cannot chant properly, so that time also there is fear. So is there a difference between that fear and this fear? I mean, I was just trying to figure out, because the fear factor is there in case of devotees also, because somehow we don't want to make any aparadh.
So the fear factor which is being mentioned, that is executing dharma so that we don't perform a dharma. That is basically because of the bodily concept of life. And this is pious, this will lead to elevation, or this is sinful, it will lead to degradation. So that is on that paradigm, the fear is there. Now in bhakti also, there is the Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. So the Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti is also performed at one level at fear. Tasmat Bharat Sarvatma Bhagwan Ishvaro Api Shotavya Smartavya Kirti definition. I am not able to recollect the verse. 215. Tasmat Bharat Sarvatma Bhagwan Ishvaro Hari Shotavya Kirti Davyascha Smartavya Chet Ichita Bhayam. So what should one do at the time of death or at all time? That was the question of Parikshit Maharaj. So Sukdev Goswami answers. He says, Tasmad Bharata Sarvatma. Bhagavan Ishvara Hari. You worship Ishvara. How? By hearing, chanting, remembering, so that you can become free from all fear. The fear of death was there, free from all miseries. So Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti in one sense is executed. Bhaktivinoda Thakur mentions there are 4 levels why one takes up to worship or of God. One is fear, out of sense of fear. The second is out of duty. The third is a fear, and then desire, duty, and then out of love. So we also as sadhakas go through these different levels. If I don't come to the Mangal Aarti today, I have a fear that my temple authority will scold me. So let me go to the temple morning program. I'm not so inspired. I'm feeling lazy, but I'll go because otherwise my temple authority will chastise me. So this is like going to the Mangal Aarti out of fear. And out of desire, yes, that is the next level. If I go to the Mangal Aarti, then I will get, morning special prasad. And then, no, I should go because it is my duty to attend Mangal Aarti. But I am going because I'm attracted, to participate in the Mangal Aarti out of love. So like that, there is this different levels in which we go in our transcend to these higher levels. So even as Vaidhi sadhakas, there are these levels, but they are more on a different platform, not what is at the Varnashram level. So we should know and identify at which level we have, and we should slowly come. Once somebody is, on the Raganuga platform, for him the whole, consciousness or the thinking process is different. You know, for an ordinary religious person, doing, actions as per dharma is dharma, and not doing actions as per dharma is pap. But for from the pure Shuddha Bhakti perspective, not remembering Krishna is pap, and remembering Krishna is pure devotion. So like that, it shifts, the whole paradigm shift happens. But these levels we go through, these 4 levels, what Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains in Chaitanya Shikshamrita: fear, desire, duty, out of love. So we should try to go up in the ladder and perform our even execution of our spiritual activities, not merely on the fear that, that fear also, if it is there, that fear should be a healthy fear. Yes, if I don't chant attentively, then I'm committing offense. So I should not commit offense. But that should not be like, oh, if I don't chant, then my spiritual counselor will not recommend me for initiation, so let me chant. No, it should be done for the pleasure of Krishna, because that is my constitutional duty as a jiva. So in that the mood, we should always have that. We should have that, but we should also maintain that healthy fear. Is it okay, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes, I got my answer. Thank you.
Any other questions anyone has up till now in this purport what we have discussed? Yes, one last question, and then we will go to the Manah Shiksha Bhasha, that you finish the commentary of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Yes, Virendra Yadav Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu Dandapranam. Prabhu, with regard to worship of exclusive Radha and Krishna, Prabhu, when we have deity at home, for example, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Mahaprabhu, if we have that duty, so what should be our move? You can just elaborate.
Can you speak a little loudly, please?
Prabhu, when you have deity of Nitai Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, so what should be our mood in worshipping the deity? Whereas
okay,
it
you
should be
don't have
exclusive
Radha
to
Krishna,
others.
but when we have Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, right?
Yes.
When we don't have Radha Krishna at home, when we have Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, especially for devotees, Radha Krishna worship is very, very elevated. And it has a lot of rules and regulations. And even as sadhakas, even if we are worshipping Radha Krishna at home, it is more, in the mood of Vaikuntha Bhav that they are Lakshmi and Narayan. It is not more in a spontaneous mood. We treat them as Lakshmi Narayan and according to rules and regulations worship, not, so spontaneously. So that is regarding Radha Krishna. But it is always recommended that devotees, especially Grahasthas, have Jagannath, Baldev, Subhadra and Gaur Nitai. And, they will, ultimately by performing this worship, they will take us to Radha and Krishna. They will take us to Radha. Both Gaur Nitai and Jagannath, Baldev, Subhadra, they will take us to Vraj Radha Krishna Bhakti only. So it is not at all a problem that if you are worshipping Gaur Nitai or Jagannath, Baldev, Subhadra, they will, by performing that deity worship, it helps us to become free from the contamination of the gross and subtle body. It helps in the purification of the body, that ultimately we can chant the holy names purely. And when we chant, at least taking the nama bhas, then our mind is focused, the purification has happened, and then we will be able to see that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is none other than Radha and Krishna also. Then we might go to that worship of Radha Krishna or worship of Giriraj, like that. Of course, this all will require expert guidance from the spiritual masters and Shiksha Gurus. But definitely, Gaurnitai worship and Jagannath Baldev Subhadra worship will definitely lead to Radha Krishna worship. Is it clear? Virendra Prabhuji?
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, so let's go to the Manah Shiksha Bhashya commentary. The same verse in the form of a song, Bhaktivinoda Thakur is explaining. Dharma moli vede yare ekata prashamsa kare adharma boliya nindayar kare nindayare taha kichuna kar dharma adharma parihar hoyarat nighud vyapare. Engage neither in anything that the Vedas proclaim to be dharma. Dharma boli vedeyar ekata prashamsa akar. Prashamsa means which is proclaimed in the Vedas. What is dharma? Don't engage. Nor anything that it censors. Adharma boli nindayar re. This you should not do. What is mentioned in Vedas, don't too much, don't engage in that also. Rather, leaving all dharma and adharma aside, dharma, adharma, parihar, enrapture yourself in the supreme mystery. Hoy rata niguda vyapar. Taha kichuna kara. Don't do all this dharma and adharma, but enrapture yourself in the supreme mystery. What are the supreme mystery? The supreme mystery and Radha and Krishna. Yache mana dhari tavapai se sakala parihar vraja bhumeshva vrada bhume a bhume ba asakari rata hoya yugal seva. O heart, mana, I beg you, dhara tavapai, holding onto your feet, abandon everything. Say sakala parihar, live in Vraj, Vraja Bhume, and be always absorbed in the loving service of the divine couple, Shri Radha Krishna. Rata hoye yugala seva. Shri Sachinandana Dhyane, Shri Nanda Nandana Sane. Worship our treasure, Sri Sachinandan, the son of Sachi, Gaurhari, and Shri Nanda Nandan, the son of Nanda. Shri Krishna is one. Eka kari kara bhajan. So this resolves, that if we have to exclusively worship only Radha and Krishna, then how do we regard Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? This is how we regard him. He is non-different from Nanda Nandan. Shri Mukunda Priyajana, Guru Deva Janamana, Tomala Dipatita Pavana. Know that Guru Dev is Shri Krishna's beloved, who manifested in this world, dear mind, as a savior of the fallen for you. So, Krishna, that's why in the Shuddha Bhakti definition, Anya Vilashita Shunyam Jnana Karma Denavritam Anukulena Krishna. We have to perform devotional service to Krishna, and Krishna includes all his expansions and even Guru. That's why in the Angas of Bhakti, there is, Ado Guru Padashraya, Diksha Adi Shikshanam, and Vishrambena Guru Seva. So this service to Guru is also direct service to Krishna only, and it is part of Uttama Bhakti. So similarly, because, when we are exclusively worshipping Radha and Krishna, or our devotion is exclusively to the spiritual master, it is to also Radha and Krishna. Jagate prakata bhai taha vina gatinai yadi chaha apana kushala tahara charana dhare tad adesha sadasmari ei bhakti vinoda deha bola. You cannot progress without Guru. Taha avagati nai. If you want your own welfare, apanaka kushal, taha yadi ache, hold tight onto the Guru's feet. Tahara charana dhari. Always keeping the Guru's instruction in the mind. Tada Adesha Sada Smari. Bhaktivinoda Thakur begs, please grant me strength that I may do this myself. E Bhaktivinoda Deha Bala. Bala means give me the strength. So this is Bhaktivinoda Thakur's Manah Shiksha Bhasha of the explanation of the verse of text 2. So now tomorrow I will take this commentary because it's just one paragraph. Because His Holiness Shivram Swami Maharaj has covered everything about text 2 right in text 1 only commentary. All these 3 doubts, he had raised this question in his commentary itself. So in one sense, text 2 commentary of Shivram Swami Maharaj is very, very brief, and he has covered all that in text 1. So it's only one paragraph. So I will cover because the flow of thought is there. This is the same verse. The first verse dealt with the questions of what one should do when faith in Krishna Katha rises within the heart of Jiva. Want to take shelter of all these 8. The answer to that was Guru Goshte Goshtaleshu Sujana Busuragane Swamantreshi Namne, that one should take Diksha mantra by accepting the spiritual master, serve Vaishnavas, and worship Radha and Krishna. There are certain implied questions in that first verse, namely that if one is always worshipping Radha and Krishna, chanting Hare Krishna, how is one meant to maintain oneself or live within this world? So Bhaktivinoda Thakur answers that, right? So the answer to this is covered in second verse, as well as how to see the position of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the position of spiritual master, and how this process of worship should be done. So all that answers we discussed in Bhaktivinoda Thakur's commentary. So here ends Shivram Swami Maharaj commentary in one sense. So now in tomorrow's class and day after class, we will take Bhaktivedanta Goswami's commentary, which is also quite exhaustive. Any questions, any clarifications until now? Any questions or clarifications? Okay, so we'll stop here. Shri Manah Shiksha ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Raghunath Das Goswami ki jai. Hare Krishna.